All right. Okay, so I started playing trumpet in junior high school. I played for 2 years, and I got pretty decent at it. But unfortunately, one of the not the best decisions I ever made is after I got into high school, I gave up on music altogether and just concentrated on sports. And did that through college and through high school. But I completely got away from music and didn't get back into it until years later, when I walked into a music store. I was buying up all kinds of records, and I didn't go in there with any intention of buying a bass, but there was a bass hanging up in the window. I just, on a whim, decided to buy one, started messing around with it, and then got more and more serious about it, and then started playing, and and now I play a lot. Well, I put my iPod up against anybody's, but there is, I do have the Pina Colada song by the great Rupert Holmes. Which,
Let's hear a rendition.
Oh, yeah? Huh?
Yeah.
I was tired of my lady. We'd been together so long. Like a worn-out recording of a favorite song. And, you can keep going. But I think the people have heard enough. I'm big into sports still. Watch a lot of football, a lot of baseball, a lot of basketball. I played a lot up until a couple of years ago. Had actually pulled my hamstring three times playing in an outside league. So really not playing much anymore. But sports, and also I'm big into wildlife. Like I love watching nature documentaries, reading up as much as I can. Particularly the big cats. I find big cats absolutely fascinating. Whether it's leopards, tigers. I can watch those. I can go to the zoo and just watch them for hours. And I think they're the most interesting animals. It's just I don't know what it is that draws me to them, but I find I'm like fascinated with that stuff.
Back to sports. What's your one favorite team?
Well, it's two. It's the Yankees and the Cowboys. So had a very rough year with the Cowboys last year, and the Yankees. I just watched them lose their sixth straight at home to the Red Sox, and. I won't even tell you what I did to my apartment after they lost their sixth straight. Well, I've lived here my entire life, so I've seen this city change a lot over the years. Like in they made so many movies in the early '80s and mid '70s about what a disaster area New York City was. They're not exaggerating. This was a tough place to grow up, and I've seen it change a lot, almost so far to the other direction where it's lost a lot of its grit.
Right.
And it's become, in a lot of ways, it's still a great place to live. You can find anything here. There's always something to do here. The city never shuts down, which is one of the great things, but it really has lost a lot of its edge. Just go to Times Square, and it's nice not thinking that you walk through Times Square risking your life every time you go there, but it's also there's a Disney World quality, and there is an edginess that's really, really missing. And I think music, especially New York artists in the '70s, their music is very reflective of what an edgy place New York was, and I think it's really lost now. But it's still a great place to live.
Okay.
You don't want to be one of those guys like, back in my day, music was so great. It's just every generation, like today's kids, when they get older and they have kids. The stuff they're listening to now is, their kids are going to laugh at it and say what crap it is. We all think that this music's crap now, but it's, to me, to find like music that matters, you have to look for it a little bit more. It's not just the stuff that's like broadcast over the air that's really out there is very overproduced. You have auto-tune where it really takes the human element out of and that's not, I shouldn't generalize too much. Like you have like people like I'm not a huge fan, but Lady Gaga does her own thing. She does have she writes her own stuff, so I give her credit. Adele is just completely who she is. They don't use auto-tune on her, and I think you have to look a little bit more to find people that are really doing it from the soul instead of just doing it to sell music. And I think way back, 70s, 80s, people, I think, were still doing it more for love of what they were doing rather than just to get famous like that. And it's just the way I look at it. Honestly, I think it's the way the strings are arranged. First of all, it's having a string section, which not too many people have, and I think the string arrangements that to me, that's kind of the most interesting thing. Like while I'm playing, is trying to listen what they're doing and kind of react to what they're doing. It gives it a kind of a different element. I think everybody brings like some really interesting ideas. Our guitar player Joe just plays very very interesting, almost like a lot of Andy Summers Police type textures that make it kind of unique, and it's just fun. I mean, everybody in the band is it's fun to play with. You're playing with good musicians and people who are very easy to hang out with. It's makes it fun. I'd say fun. I mean, for me, it's fun. It's just it's a nice way to just to get away from the daily grind of work, and we rehearse once a week. It's just very it's fun. It's relaxing, and you're playing again with people that you get along with, and you're trying to work towards a common goal of doing putting out the best stuff that you can, instead of just trying to sell records or just we play for what we think sounds interesting, and hopefully people that listen will follow suit. That would have to be probably a band that probably nobody under the age of 50 really knows. A band called Mandrill. They were around in the early 70s, and they were kind of like they were running in the same kind of musical circles as War and Santana. They had this very heavy funk Latin rock vibe. Only they were from New York. They're actually from Bed-Stuy, and their music was very reflective of New York in the 70s. They brought every kind of influence you can imagine, and unfortunately, they're very overlooked. Like, you hear interviews with a lot of artists, and they use Mandrill as inspiration, but it's just one of those things where some groups make it and some don't, and unfortunately, not many people know of them. But they're definitely, to me, hands down, the most inspirational band.
Perfect. That's it.
All right, great.